Well, the most important thing we have to deal with is our democracy itself.
If your presidency could only tackle one issue, what would it be?
Don't ask me that question because we can't do just one issue.
It's not that if elected president we're only going to accomplish one thing. I don't look at politics like that.
It would be the lack of economic mobility in America, the fact that we've got the greatest income inequality that we've had in 100 years.
It would be what I see as the cancer that underlies all the other cancers, and that is the nefarious undue influence of money on our political system.
Corruption. Look, when you talk about climate, the issue is not climate. We all know the answer on that. There's no other side of the debate. The problem is the oil and gas companies run the Congress. We know we can solve it, but the oil and gas companies won't let us. And so the real question there is legalized corruption of our government.
Every other issue I care about, from climate change to gun violence to education, isn't going to get handled very well until we fix the structures of our government itself. That's why we need, if necessary, constitutional reform to get money out of politics, to make sure that districts are actually drawn so that politicians are chosen by voters instead of what's happening now, which is that politicians choose their voters by the district lines.
I don't think it's reasonable to think that we will be able to overturn Citizens United anytime soon. So we need either a constitutional amendment or, and this is what I would do, public funding of federal campaigns.
I think we have a real challenge in this nation, that we're going from a beloved community to a level of tribalism. We need to heal this country. We need to have a revival of civic grace, a more courageous empathy for each other. I believe the next leader of this country can't be demeaning and degrading other Americans, pitting us against each other. We've got to put more united back into this one nation under God.
My flagship proposal is a freedom dividend of $1,000 a month for every American adult starting at age 18. This would create over 2 million new jobs in the U.S. economy. This is the trickle-up economy, and it starts with universal basic income of $1,000 a month for every American adult starting in 2021.
It probably would be climate change, because that's an existential threat to the planet.
I think it's very clear to Americans right now that the climate crisis is not happening in 100 years. It's happening right now.
Climate change has to be an issue that has to be tackled if we actually want to leave the world better than we found it. And I think that's our most fundamental responsibility.
Day one, I'd sign us back into the International Climate Change Agreement, and day two, bring back the clean power rules that the Trump administration just left on the cutting room floor. From there, you introduce sweeping legislation and work with Congress. I just don't think we can wait.
I look at a political movement in this country which transforms this nation. So it's not just one thing. It's not combating climate change or Medicare for all. It is doing all of those things, and we can do them because that is what the American people want.
Thanks for watching. Check out more presidential contenders in our full 20 Questions for 2020 playlist. And be sure to subscribe to NowThis so you don't miss a thing.